When a man finds that it is his destiny to suffer, he will have to accept his suffering as his task. Viktor Frankl. Every day feels the same. You wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat. The faces change, the tasks vary slightly, but deep down it feels like you're running in circles. No growth, no spark, just survival. The more time passes, the more you wonder, is this really all life is? An endless loop of obligations and distractions? It's not that you're suffering intensely. It's that you're disconnected, numb. The question isn't, how do I survive this? It's, how do I find meaning in this monotony? Viktor Frankl would say, routine isn't your enemy, meaninglessness is. Even the most repetitive life can become sacred when linked to a personal mission. Your task is not to escape repetition, but to transform it into purpose. Marcus Aurelius would offer a different path: mastery through discipline. Routine is not a trap, it's a training ground. Every day is a chance to practice virtue, focus, and inner excellence, regardless of external excitement. Two voices. One teaches you to love through meaning. The other teaches you to grow through repetition. Both offer you a way out of emptiness, not by escaping the routine, but by transforming how you inhabit it. Waking up every day to the same tasks can slowly suffocate your soul. You go through the motions, work, errands, responsibilities. There's no crisis, no disaster, just an overwhelming sense of sameness. It feels like you're on a treadmill, moving, but never arriving. And the worst part, you start to wonder if this is what the rest of your life will be. Not painful, not joyful, just mechanical. The question creeps in: am I alive or am I just existing? This feeling often hides behind productivity. You're busy, you're functioning. From the outside, everything looks fine, but inside you're numb. The routine that once gave you structure now feels like a cage. You try to break the monotony, a trip, a new hobby, a distraction, but the emptiness returns. Because the problem isn't the tasks themselves, it's the absence of meaning behind them. You're not tired of work, you're tired of doing work. That feels detached from purpose. Viktor Frankl saw this existential vacuum everywhere, not just in extreme suffering, but in ordinary lives. He believed that routine becomes suffocating when it's disconnected from a deeper why. His answer wasn't to escape the routine, but to reconnect it to meaning. Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, he said, but only by lack of meaning and purpose. To Frankl, even repetitive tasks can become sacred when they're linked to something greater: love, service, responsibility. Marcus Aurelius approached monotony with stoic clarity. He didn't seek to escape repetition. He embraced it as the perfect ground for cultivating excellence. Every small task was a chance to practice virtue: patience, discipline, justice. No role is so well suited to philosophy as the one you happen to be in right now, he wrote. For Marcus, it wasn't about changing what you do, it was about changing how you do it. Even the most ordinary moment is a test of character. This is where Frankl and Marcus offer complementary solutions. Frankl urges you to reconnect your daily actions to a mission beyond yourself. Marcus challenges you to infuse those same actions with deliberate virtue regardless of external meaning. One transforms the why, the other refines the how. Both turn repetition from suffocation into growth. So if you feel trapped in endless routine, perhaps the answer isn't outside, it's within. Not in changing what you do, but in remembering why it matters. And when the why feels distant, in focusing on how well you're showing up to even the smallest task. The real trap of routine isn't repetition, it's detachment. Tasks lose meaning not because they repeat, but because we stop seeing their connection to something bigger. You clean the house, answer emails, attend meetings. Over time, these actions feel like obligations disconnected from life itself. You start living for the weekend, for rare moments of escape, while the rest of your days blur into a gray fog of just getting through. But what if the problem isn't the tasks, but the way you perceive them? Viktor Frankl believed that even the smallest, most mundane tasks could become meaningful if connected to a higher purpose. He saw people survive unimaginable suffering because they attached meaning to simple acts: caring for others, maintaining dignity, holding on to love. To Frankl, life constantly asks us questions through our circumstances. The challenge is not to find excitement, but to discover how each moment, however repetitive, can become an opportunity to respond with purpose. Marcus Aurelius didn't seek purpose in novelty. For him, repetition was essential for training the soul. He believed that virtue is not tested in grand, rare moments, but in the daily grind. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Routine, to Marcus, is not a prison but a forge. Every time you show up to your task, however small, you sharpen your character. You don't need excitement. You need alignment with who you want to be. This mindset turns routine from suffocation into refinement. Frankl teaches you to ask, for whom or for what am I doing this? Marcus teaches you to ask, how well am I doing this, regardless of how I feel? One expands your vision beyond yourself. The other grounds you in disciplined presence. Both reject the lie that fulfillment comes from constant novelty. But changing your perception requires intention. You must actively resist the drift into autopilot. For Frankl, that means assigning meaning where the world offers none. For Marcus, it means practicing attention and excellence in every moment. The goal is not to escape repetition, but to inhabit it differently. So the next time you feel trapped in routine, pause, breathe. Ask the questions Frankl and Marcus would. What is life asking of me right now? And how can I do this task with full presence and virtue? In those questions lies the path out of numbness, not by changing your life, but by changing how you live it. Routine can either drain you or discipline you. The difference lies in your response. You might not control the tasks in front of you, but you absolutely control who you become through them. The danger of endless routine is that it dulls your sense of agency. You feel like a cog in a machine. But Frankl and Marcus would both argue, it's precisely in these moments that your character is revealed and refined. Viktor Frankl believed that even repetitive suffering could become meaningful when tied to a personal mission. His life was proof. Imprisoned, stripped of freedom, facing the same daily horrors, yet he found purpose in small acts, preserving dignity, offering kindness, imagining a future lecture that would give his pain meaning. His challenge to you is clear. Are you willing to transform your routine into a service to something larger than yourself? Whether it's family, a personal project, or a quiet principle, routine gains meaning when it's placed in context. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor trapped in the routine of power, saw his daily obligations as training. Every meeting, every decision, every frustration, opportunities to practice patience, justice, self-control. You have power over your mind, not outside events, he wrote. To Marcus, routine is the gymnasium of the soul. Each small act done well is a rep that builds inner strength. You don't need extraordinary circumstances to become excellent. You need repetition and attention. The fusion of these ideas is powerful. Frankl teaches you to look beyond the task to its meaning in the larger human story. Marcus teaches you to look into the task as a mirror of your own discipline and values. One expands the horizon, the other sharpens the focus. Together, they transform routine from a mindless loop into a deliberate path of becoming. But this requires vigilance. The drift into numbness is subtle. You must actively choose to assign meaning, Frankl, and practice virtue, Marcus, daily. It's not about feeling inspired. It's about choosing to inhabit each task with purpose or precision. That choice, repeated over time, becomes your life. So when you feel stuck in endless routine, remember, this is your forge. This is your proving ground, not for the world to see, but for you to become the person you admire. And that transformation doesn't happen in rare moments of glory. It happens in the repetition you're tempted to despise. One of the greatest dangers of routine is that it puts your soul to sleep. You become efficient but not present, productive but not alive. The body moves, but the spirit drifts. And over time, that drifting leads to a quiet kind of despair. Not loud, not dramatic, but numbing. Frankl and Marcus both confronted this threat, though in different ways. and both believed it could be overcome not by changing your circumstances, but by waking up within them. For Viktor Frankl, the antidote to spiritual numbness was meaning through responsibility. He taught that life constantly questions you through your experiences. Even repetitive tasks carry a silent question. How will you respond? He believed that every small action could be redeemed when connected to a greater purpose, be it love, service, or duty. The mundane becomes meaningful not by being exciting, but by being essential, by being yours to fulfill. Marcus Aurelius approached the same numbness with stoic rigor. To him, losing awareness in daily tasks was a form of self-betrayal. His solution wasn't emotional, but practical. Return to the present moment. Pay attention. Concentrate every minute like a Roman on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness. For Marcus, the battle against routine is won through focus, through treating each task as worthy of your full attention. Both perspectives fight against autopilot living. Frankl gives you a why, a reason to endure and transform repetition into legacy. Marcus gives you a how, a disciplined practice of showing up fully, even when it feels small. One reignites the heart, the other refines the mind. Together, they protect the soul from being lulled to sleep by monotony. But this is not passive. It requires you to reclaim agency, to see yourself not as a victim of routine, but as an active participant in how you experience it. Frankl would ask, "What is the meaning I can assign to this moment?" Marcus would ask, "How well am I embodying virtue in this task right now?" These are not lofty questions. They are survival tools for the soul. So if you feel like life has become a dull cycle, understand, the cycle isn't your prison. Your inattention is. Wake up to it, answer it, shape it. Routine can feel like a slow erosion of the soul, but Frankl and Marcus both saw it differently. They saw routine not as a sentence, but as a chance, a daily invitation to become. For Frankl, every repetitive moment was another opportunity to affirm meaning. For Marcus, it was another opportunity to practice virtue. Neither waited for life to be extraordinary to act extraordinarily. And that's the lesson. Meaning and excellence are forged in repetition. Frankl's path is rooted in transcendence. He believed that even the smallest task becomes sacred when tied to something greater than yourself. Washing dishes, answering. For emails, caring for a loved one. None of it is trivial when it's an expression of your personal mission. Suffering comes not from repetition, but from disconnection. His challenge, reconnect. Assign meaning intentionally. Transform the ordinary into testimony. Marcus Aurelius, ever the Stoic, didn't ask life to feel meaningful. He asked himself to be precise, disciplined, and present, no matter how dull the task. Virtue is not reserved for grand decisions. It's practiced in the way you fold your clothes, in how you greet a colleague, in the steadiness with which you approach every moment. Routine becomes the gym of your soul. The more you train, the stronger you become. The real enemy is not routine. It's neglect. Neglecting to reflect, neglecting to be present, neglecting to infuse meaning or virtue into what you do. Frankl teaches you to rise above monotony through purpose. Marcus teaches you to root deeply into each moment through discipline. One uplifts the heart, the other fortifies the character. Together they form a way of life where no moment is wasted. When you live this way, routine transforms. It no longer suffocates, it sharpens, the days no longer blur into gray. Each action, no matter how small, becomes a stroke in the portrait of who you're becoming. You're no longer surviving repetition. You're using it as a tool to grow, refine, and align with your truest self. So if you feel stuck, understand this: the routine is not your enemy, it's your workshop. And every day you step into it is another chance to build the person you were meant to be. Routine doesn't have to be a prison. Viktor Frankl teaches that repetition becomes meaningful when tied to purpose, even if the task is small. Marcus Aurelius shows that virtue is forged in daily practice, not in rare moments. One gives you a reason to keep going, the other a method to do it well. Together they remind you, You don't need to escape your routine to feel alive. You need to inhabit it differently. The next time life feels like a loop, don't ask for more excitement. Ask for more presence, more meaning, more integrity. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to Purpose Through Pain. Here we explore how ancient wisdom can transform modern struggles. Comment below. Do you need Frankl's sense of mission or Marcus's daily discipline right now? Share this with someone stuck in autopilot. They may need this reminder.